So, the elusive Portal played in Manchester. The elusive extreme metal band from Australia, they very rarely play live. In fact, they're that rare. This was amongst their first shows in the UK for over a decade, and it could well be the last ever show in the UK. I've seen videos of their live performance, I've seen the crazy costumes, and heard stories about what a blistering live experience it is. At the same time, I did wonder if my expectations been set just a bit too high, if the bar had been set to a standard that the band wouldn't be able to live up to. So, would Portal live up to these standards? Let's find out. They weren't alone this night as Abduction, the fast rising UK black metal band, opened up the show. Now, I was one of the first at the venue, I was maybe fifth, sixth in the queue, and I was one of the first in. I got right to the front, though the queue was moving very slow, and I heard stories that some people missed the entire set. They only played 30 minutes, but they made that 30 minutes count. I've seen them play at that venue, I've seen them play at other venues. Doesn't really matter, they always sound phenomenal, and this night was no exception. Now, Portal didn't come from Australia by themselves. No, they enlisted the support of fellow countrymen, Impetuous Ritual. They were loud, proud, extravagant. I'm not talking about their costumes either. Jokes aside, they had fantastic stage presence, and I've been listening to a lot of death metal lately, and I've really come to appreciate the genre, especially in the last few months. So I was really interested to see what kind of twist they would bring to the genre. I really liked the bleak, black, and atmospheric vibes they brought, and it got a few pits going, which brings me on to a different story about the pit. There was a guy who was, let's just say, he was far too rough. He was running into people like a constipated bull, and it was upsetting a lot of people, should we say. And eventually he got turfed out, and he got a good reaction from the crowd, which you probably expect. In fact, the whole mosh pit etiquette and general gig etiquette could be a video in of itself in the future. Luckily though, this guy didn't ruin the set for me or anybody else, and it went on for an hour, and it was an hour well spent. I really enjoyed it. Portal finally came to the stage, and it felt like a hero's welcome. I was right at the front and got possibly the best view I could ask for, really. Now, I've seen some quality bands over the years. I've seen the likes of Dragged Into Sunlight, Meshuggah, Amon Ra, bands that I think have some of the best live performances and the most intense live show. Portal are definitely ranking up there with those, ranking up with the very elite. I think most of that can be attributed to the sound engineer who brought out the very best of all of them. Sounded so bleak, so intense, so atmospheric. It was just quality. The guitarist was exceptionally skilled, I noticed. He was right in front of me also. And definitely wasn't 001 stuff. No, I saw his hand going up down the fretboard like a rat in a drain pipe, for lack of a better analogy. And yeah, he's exceptionally skilled. The only thing that let the show down for me was the lighting and the visual aspect. The lighting's always pretty poor in that venue, and again, it reduced them to silhouettes really, and they couldn't really see the details of the costumes, which felt like a bit of a waste, as that's a big part of Portal's show really. I did wonder if they could have introduced a smoke machine, but if I remember correctly, there's a ban on it in the venue, so that rules out that idea. Honestly, it was an amazing show, and I feel like I was part of history. I'll look back on this in a few years' time and think I was there. The crowd was shouting "Kilter, Kilter, Kilter" towards the end of the set, and it was pretty obvious what song they wanted the band to play. It went past 11 o'clock, they didn't play Kilter, so I may never get a chance to see Kilter played live by Portal, and I may never see Portal played live again.